So when you think about what a company is really worth, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it spreadsheets, stock tickers, financial reports? Yeah, probably for most of us. But what if I told you the real secret, the key to understanding a company's true value, isn't in the numbers at all? Today, we're going to dig into why the most powerful valuation tool is actually a good story.
Okay, let's dive into a classic example. Let's go back in time to the year 2000. AOL, who is the absolute king of the dial-up internet, merges with the media giant Time Warner. On paper, this thing looked like a dream come true. You had a digital powerhouse and a traditional media behemoth ready to take over the world. The financial models, they were absolutely glowing. But, well, it ended up becoming one of the most spectacular corporate disasters in history. So what happened? The story they were telling themselves, the story behind those pretty numbers, was completely disconnected from reality.
And that right there is the big question, isn't it? If the spreadsheets all say go and the projections look amazing, why do so many valuations, so many mergers, and so many business strategies just completely fall apart? And the answer, it turns out, is all about looking beyond the numbers and starting with the story first.
So how do we actually find that story? Well, it's not just some random guesswork. There's a real playbook for this. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through the exact frameworks the pros use. We'll start with the big picture using something called Pestle. Then we'll zoom into the industry battlefield with Porter's 5 forces. We'll take a look inside the company's own fortress. And then, the big finale, we'll learn how to connect that story directly to the spreadsheet.
All right, first up, the analyst's playbook. You see, a proper company analysis isn't just about winging it. It's a disciplined, structured process. You've got to build a case step by step, starting with the widest possible view before you even think about touching a calculator.
Okay, now look closely at the order here, because this is the key takeaway. Notice that the first 4 steps, understanding the environment, the company, the strategy, and the competition, that's all about building the story. It's qualitative detective work. The hard numbers, the financials, and the final valuation, they don't even show up until way later, at steps 5 and 6. The story has to come first. It's the foundation that all the numbers are built on.
So let's start our investigation from the outside in. We're going to begin with the 30,000-foot view, the macro environment. Think of it like this. These are the massive currents in the ocean that a company just can't control, things like the weather or the tide, but it absolutely 100% has to know how to navigate them.
And the tool we use for this is called Pestle analysis. It's basically a checklist, a framework for scanning for opportunities and threats across 6 huge areas: political, economic, sociocultural, technological, environmental, and legal. It's like a high-altitude radar sweep of the entire world that the company lives in.
Let's make this real for a second. Imagine you're analyzing a company in the Indian healthcare market. What does that story look like? Well, from a sociocultural angle, India has the world's largest population. That means massive, undeniable growing demand, right? Technologically, you've got the rise of telemedicine, which is completely changing how healthcare is delivered. And then, politically, government policies on drug pricing can literally make or break a company's entire business model. Every single one of these factors is a critical chapter in that company's story.
Okay, so we've scanned the globe. Now it's time to zoom in and look at the specific industry. Is this industry a nice, calm lake where companies can just relax and make money, or is it a total bloodbath where everyone's just fighting over scraps?
And the go-to tool for figuring that out is called Porter's 5 forces. This whole framework is about understanding the power dynamics in an industry to see where the profits actually end up. It looks at the power of your customers and your suppliers, the threat of new players or substitute products, and of course, how intense the competition is between the companies already there.
Let's just zoom in on one of these. The threat of new companies popping up. Think about it. An industry with high barriers to entry. I'm talking complex technology, huge startup costs, or iconic brands. It has this protective moat around it. That moat keeps new competitors out and keeps the profits safely inside for the companies already there. But an industry with no moat, with low barriers, man, that's a free-for-all, where any profits that do pop up get competed away in a heartbeat.
All right, so we've looked at the outside world, we've checked out the industry battlefield. Now it's time to actually go inside the company's own walls and see what kind of weapons it's working with.
You've probably heard of the classic tool for this, SWOT analysis. It's a great way to map out a company's internal strengths and weaknesses against all the external opportunities and threats it's facing. It gives you a nice snapshot of where the company stands right now.
But you know, SWOT kind of leaves you with a big question. Just because a company has a strength
Does that mean it gives them a real, lasting advantage? I mean, having a cool office is a strength, sure, but is that really going to help you beat the competition long term? Probably not. So how do we figure out which strengths truly matter?
And that's where this next framework, VRIO, is so powerful. It's like a truth detector for your company's strengths. It makes you ask some really tough questions. Is this resource actually valuable? Is it rare? Is it super hard for others to imitate? And finally, is the company actually organized to take full advantage of it? Only a resource that ticks all 4 of those boxes is a true, sustainable competitive advantage. And that's the kind of thing that creates real long-term value.
All right, so here's where it all comes together. We've gathered all this info, this great story, from Pastel, from Porters, from Vrio. Now for the million-dollar question. How do we take all this story stuff and plug it into the cold, hard numbers on a spreadsheet?
You know, there's a great quote from Warren Buffett that says the profits you see on a financial statement don't really tell you that much about the real economic performance. And that's exactly what all this qualitative work is designed to uncover, the real story. And this is literally how you do it. This is how the story connects to the spreadsheet. So if your Porter's analysis shows a strong moat with high barriers to entry, well, then you can justify a higher long-term value in your financial model because you believe that company can protect its profits. If your Vrio analysis proves a brand is truly special and hard to copy, you can confidently forecast higher, more stable revenue growth. See? It's a direct line from your insight to your financial input. Every part of the story has to justify its spot on that spreadsheet.
So at the end of the day, it really comes down to this. The story isn't just some fluffy background info for the numbers. It's the actual foundation holding them up. The story explains why the cash flows are going to grow, why the profit margins are sustainable, and why this company is still going to be a major player in 10 years. Without that story, your financial model is just a bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet. Basically, a guess.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Next time you're looking at a company, where are you going to start? Are you going to start with the balance sheet, which is really just a picture of the past? Or are you going to start on its battlefield by understanding the world it lives in, the industry it fights in, and the unique advantages that will actually drive its future?